Everything you believe about limits, your mind, your body, your potential, is about to be shattered. Because once you understand quantum entanglement, you'll realize your thoughts are not confined to your brain. They're connected to everything. And your subconscious. It's not just storing memories, it's a transmitter. One that can unlock an invisible energy you've been carrying your entire life. This isn't science fiction. It's cutting-edge quantum physics. So how does mastering this strange phenomenon help unlock energy inside you? And more importantly, why are most people completely unaware of it? Let's break this open. What if I told you that the space between things isn't empty, but alive? That the boundaries you see between yourself and everything else are nothing more than a perceptual trick? From the moment we're born, we're taught to see the world as separate objects. You and me, this and that, cause and effect. We walk through life believing we are isolated individuals, living inside our own heads, disconnected from the universe around us. But quantum physics offers a stunningly different perspective, one that flips this belief on its head. At the quantum level, the very idea of separation begins to fall apart. Scientists have discovered that particles, tiny building blocks of matter, can become entangled. This means that two particles, no matter how far apart in space, behave as if they are one. When something happens to one, the other responds instantly. It's not metaphor. It's been repeatedly proven in the lab. But here's where things get even more interesting. You are made of those particles. Every thought you have, every cell in your body, every emotion that surges through you, it's all built from the same fundamental quantum components that obey this strange law of connection. So what does that mean for your everyday life? It means the idea that you are separate from other people, from nature, from outcomes, isn't just wrong. It's incomplete. The universe isn't a collection of disconnected pieces. It's a single vibrating field of energy and intelligence, and you are part of it. You don't just observe life from the outside. You influence it, whether you realize it or not. This illusion of separation has kept humanity small. It's made us feel powerless, trapped in a material world ruled by chance and struggle. But quantum entanglement suggests that what you think, feel, and believe sends ripples into this invisible fabric of reality. And those ripples come back. Once you start to accept that everything is connected, not just philosophically but physically, you begin to awaken to your role in shaping what happens around you. And this is only the beginning. Because once you truly understand how this interconnection works, you'll see that the key to unlocking your deepest potential lies not in effort, but in alignment. Imagine for a moment that every star in the sky, every tree in the forest, and every human being walking this planet is connected by an invisible thread. Not metaphorically, but literally. This is the essence of what quantum entanglement points to. A hidden fabric of reality that links all things beyond space and time. When two quantum particles become entangled, they no longer behave as individuals. Instead, they act like mirrors of each other, perfectly synchronized, no matter how far apart they are. If one spins, the other spins. If one changes state, the other instantly does the same. And I do mean instantly. Faster than light. Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. But this spookiness is not magic. It's nature revealing something deeper than we've ever understood. The implication is staggering. There is no such thing as true separation. Not in space, not in thought, not even in time. You might be wondering, how does this affect me? Well, here's the answer. If the particles in your body, your atoms, your neurons, your very cells, can be entangled with the wider universe, then you are always connected to something greater. You are not a closed system. You're more like a frequency in a grand symphony. Unique, yes, but inseparable from the whole. This invisible thread of connection is constantly active. It's why sometimes you think about someone, and they call you minutes later. It's why certain places or people just feel familiar, even if you've never been there or met them before. These aren't coincidences. They're echoes of a quantum network that binds consciousness together, and science is only beginning to scratch the surface. Some physicists believe there may be a vast ocean of information hidden in what they call the quantum field, an energetic blueprint where everything that ever existed still echoes. When you understand that you're connected to that field, it changes your sense of self. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're participating in a dance of cause and effect that transcends logic and leaps into the extraordinary. The more you attune yourself to this web of energy, the more you begin to sense its patterns and align your life with its flow. Take a deep breath. Feel the air fill your lungs, the blood moving through your veins, the steady pulse of your heartbeat. Now consider this. Every cell in your body, every organ, every strand of DNA, it's all made of atoms, and every one of those atoms is made of subatomic particles, the same kind that get entangled across space and time. That's not just a poetic concept, it's a scientific fact. When we talk about quantum entanglement, we often imagine complex machines, physics labs, or galaxies far away. But we forget one simple truth. You are made of quantum matter, which means that the very phenomenon baffling scientists in the lab is happening inside you, all the time. Let that sink in. Your body isn't solid in the way you think it is. Zoom in deep enough, and you'll see that matter is mostly empty space, fields of probability, clouds of energy. At the smallest level, you're not a fixed physical object, but a vibrating bundle of possibilities. So here's the question. If the particles in your body are quantum in nature, then what else might they be capable of? If one particle on Earth can influence its twin on the other side of the galaxy, what does that say about the energy within you? Could your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs create ripples that extend far beyond your skin? Could you, unknowingly, be entangled with realities you haven't even imagined yet? This isn't a fantasy. It's a forgotten truth. Ancient spiritual traditions have long claimed that humans are made of stardust, that we are the universe looking back at itself. Now science is catching up to that idea in the most profound way possible. Your body is not a container. It's a bridge, a living, breathing transmitter built from entangled energy. And your consciousness? That might just be the signal flowing through it. The moment you realize that quantum mechanics isn't something out there, but something within, the game changes. You stop seeing yourself as limited. You stop treating your mind like a passenger. Instead, you begin to see your body, your brain, and your very soul as instruments, already wired into the deepest structures of the cosmos. Let's get one thing clear. Quantum entanglement is not science fiction. It's not a theory either. It's a proven phenomenon, and its implications are mind-bending. Here's how it works. When two particles become entangled, they form a connection so deep that it overrides the physical laws we're used to. No matter how far apart they are, millimeters or millions of light years, when something changes in one particle, the other reacts immediately. Not a nanosecond later. Not after a delay. Instantly. Now pause and think about what that means. We've been taught that information takes time to travel, like a phone call, a signal, a wave. But entangled particles don't follow that rule. There is no signal, no travel, no waiting. They just know. One moves, the other responds, as if they're still the same particle, split into two forms. Einstein hated this idea. He called it spooky action at a distance, because it violated everything classical physics believed about cause and effect. But in 1982, French physicist Alain Aspect ran an experiment that shattered those doubts. He demonstrated that entangled particles truly are connected in a way that defies space-time. It was real, it was repeatable, and it couldn't be ignored. So what does this mean for you? It means that connection isn't bound by location. It means there's a level of reality, deeper than atoms, deeper than time, where everything is one. It means the separation we perceive is just surface level. Beneath it all, you are already connected. To people, to events, to energy patterns you haven't even seen yet. This isn't just about atoms. It's about consciousness. Because if your body is made of these particles, and your thoughts are electrical impulses riding on those particles, then your very thinking could be participating in this entangled web. That weird feeling you get when you think about someone and they call? That moment where you sense something before it happens? These aren't just lucky guesses. They may be glimpses of a deeper, entangled reality where your awareness is more powerful and more far-reaching than you've been led to believe. Entanglement doesn't just prove connection. It proves unity. And once you really grasp that, you stop feeling alone in the universe and start realizing you are the universe in motion. Where is your mind? If you're like most people, you'd probably point to your head. After all, that's where thoughts seem to happen. But what if that's only part of the story? What if your consciousness isn't trapped inside your skull, but instead reaches far beyond your body? For decades, scientists assumed the brain was the command center, the origin of thought, emotion, and awareness. But the deeper researchers have explored consciousness, the more elusive it's become. In fact, quantum theorists are starting to ask a radical question. What if consciousness isn't something that emerges from the brain at all, but something that the brain tunes into? Think of your brain not as a generator, but a receiver, a biological antenna that taps into a much larger field of awareness. This theory is gaining traction among quantum physicists and neuroscientists alike. People like Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff have proposed that consciousness may arise from quantum processes occurring inside the microtubules of brain cells, structures so tiny they operate at the quantum level. If that's true, then your mind isn't just electrical signals bouncing around in your head. It's a non-local field, one that isn't confined by space and doesn't disappear when your body rests. This might explain why people have premonitions, intuitive hits, or moments of sudden inspiration that defy logic. It's not just coincidence. It's connection to something bigger than the brain can fully grasp. And this brings us back to entanglement. If particles in your body are linked to particles in the greater universe, and your consciousness rides on those particles, then your awareness might be inherently interwoven with the cosmos. Your thoughts don't just float in your head. They ripple outwards, interacting with the fabric of reality itself. This shifts everything. You're not thinking inside a box. You're thinking inside a field. And that field doesn't just record your thoughts, it responds to them. Which means that how you feel, what you focus on, and what you believe isn't just internal business. It's active input into the quantum network of life. Consciousness, it seems, is not local. It's expansive. It's participatory. And most importantly, it's powerful. When most people think of intelligence, they think of the brain. But the truth is, the heart holds a power. Science is only just beginning to understand. The HeartMath Institute, a research organization exploring the connection between emotion and physiology, made a groundbreaking discovery. The human heart generates an electromagnetic field that extends several feet beyond the body. In fact, this field is over 60 times more powerful than the electrical activity of the brain. That's not just poetic metaphor, it's measurable energy, radiating from your chest and interacting with your environment. But this field doesn't just pulse randomly, it changes with your emotional state. When you feel gratitude, peace, or love, your heart's rhythm becomes smooth and coherent. This state is called heart coherence, and it strengthens your ability to think clearly, make better decisions, and even influence your surroundings. Here's the part that will bend your understanding of reality. This electromagnetic field isn't just broadcasting inward, it's communicating outward. When your heart enters a coherent state, the frequency it emits can influence people around you, subtly syncing their rhythms to yours. Think of how contagious calm or anxiety can be in a room. That's not just body language, it's energetic alignment. Now connect this to quantum entanglement. If we accept that our consciousness can interact with the field of reality, and that our heart is producing a massive emotion-driven signal then we start to see the real power of emotion. Your feelings are not passive, they are frequencies, and the subconscious, your deeper self, is most fluent in this language. When you walk into a room feeling joy, your energy speaks first, before words, before actions, and the quantum field listens. This also explains why so many people fail to manifest what they want. They might think positive thoughts, but if the heart is filled with fear or doubt, the dominant signal being sent out is one of lack. The universe doesn't respond to your thoughts alone. It responds to your emotional frequency. The field doesn't hear what you say. It feels what you believe. That's why mastering your heart's energy isn't optional. It's foundational. Because when your heart and mind work in harmony, you become more than just a person thinking. You become a being transmitting. You might think your subconscious is just a dusty attic of forgotten memories and old fears. But what if it's more than that? What if it's not just recording your life, but broadcasting it, 24/7? The subconscious is often misunderstood. It's not just the place where habits live, it's the engine room of your life. It controls your breathing, your reflexes, your emotional reactions, and far more than you realize. Studies suggest that over 95% of your decisions and behaviors are driven by the subconscious, which means, in most situations, you're not thinking. You're reacting based on programming. But here's where it gets even deeper. Your subconscious doesn't just affect your behavior. It also influences the vibrational frequency you emit into the world. That means it's sending signals to the quantum field, whether you're aware of it or not. Think of your subconscious as a satellite tower. It constantly transmits your core beliefs, not your surface thoughts, but the stories buried deep in your psyche. If, deep down, you believe the world is unsafe, that money is scarce, or that love is conditional, you will send out a frequency that aligns with those beliefs, and the universe will respond accordingly. The results? You attract more situations that confirm your inner programming. Ever noticed how some people seem to live in a cycle of bad relationships, constant financial struggle, or self-sabotage, no matter how hard they try to change? That's because their subconscious is overriding their conscious desires. Their vibration is stuck on an old frequency. But here's the empowering part. You can change the signal. When you begin to reprogram your subconscious through repetition, visualization, emotion, you don't just feel different. You begin to broadcast a different vibration, one that starts attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that match your upgraded beliefs. And it doesn't take years. Your subconscious is always listening. It adapts based on emotional intensity and consistency. The more often you feel empowered, grateful, or abundant, the faster your subconscious accepts it as the new normal, and the faster your reality begins to reflect that. So don't underestimate your inner world. Your subconscious isn't passive, it's active. It's transmitting your destiny in real time. And once you become conscious of what it's sending, you can finally choose what comes back. Let's strip everything back for a moment and ask the most essential question. What is the universe made of? Is it matter? Is it particles? Is it space? No. At its core, it's energy, and energy vibrates. Everything you see, your hands, the trees, the screen you're looking at, is vibrating at a specific frequency. Even solid objects aren't truly solid. Zoom in deep enough, and you'll find atoms. Zoom further, and you'll discover that even atoms are mostly empty space, with particles vibrating in dynamic fields of energy. So what happens when your thoughts, your emotions, your entire state of being are also vibrating? You become a contributor to the field, not just an observer. You're not just in the universe, you're resonating with it. Every thought you think produces an electromagnetic signature, and when you combine that thought with strong emotion, you create a powerful frequency that radiates outward, into your body, into your environment, and into the quantum field. This is why what you feel has such a strong impact on what shows up in your life. If you constantly feel fear, worry, or resentment, you are vibrating at a lower frequency. And what matches that low vibration? Delay, resistance, chaos. You'll notice more arguments, more setbacks, and more closed doors. But flip that script, start feeling joy, gratitude, or confidence, and you begin to vibrate differently. You become magnetic to people, opportunities, and synchronicities that match your elevated energy. The universe is like a tuning fork. Whatever frequency you send out, it reflects right back to you. This is not just spiritual belief. It's supported by principles of quantum physics, where the observer affects the observed and where resonance plays a central role in behavior at a subatomic level. This is why change doesn't start with effort. It starts with vibration. You can't fight your way to abundance if you're still vibrating in scarcity. You can't think your way into love if your body is still vibrating in shame. You have to feel it first, before the evidence arrives. Because once your vibration changes, your reality can't help but follow. Not because you forced it, but because you finally tuned into a new frequency that makes it inevitable. You've probably heard the phrase, "It's the thought that counts." But in the quantum universe, it's not just the thought, it's the intention behind it that shapes your world. Let's be clear, thoughts alone are weak. They flicker in and out. But when a thought is infused with emotion and focus, it becomes an intention. And intention is powerful. In quantum terms, it's like setting a trajectory, a wave of possibility directed into the field. And once released, that wave interacts with the energy around you. Think of your intention like tuning a radio. Without it, you get static, random noise, scattered results. But with intention, you lock onto a frequency. You become aligned with a specific outcome, and the quantum field begins to respond. And it's not just theory. Countless experiments have shown how intention affects reality. In one study, focused human intention was used to alter the structure of water crystals. In another, people were able to influence random number generators, machines designed to produce unpredictable results, simply through focused thought. But here's where most people miss the mark. They confuse wanting with intending. Wanting says, "I wish this would happen." Intending says, "This is happening." One is passive, the other is active. One feels like distance, the other feels like presence, and the universe knows the difference. Intention is not just a mental act, it's a full-body, full-spirit declaration. When you set a true intention, you're sending a coherent, emotionally charged frequency into the field. It's not about begging the universe, it's about informing it. That's why clarity is essential. Vague intentions produce vague results. But when your vision is sharp, your emotion is aligned, and your belief is anchored, that's when the field begins to reorganize itself around your frequency. And here's the twist. You don't even need to figure out how it will happen. That's not your job. Your job is to set the tone, hold the energy, and act in alignment. The quantum field will do the rest. The right people, events, and opportunities will appear, not by coincidence, but by resonance. So the next time you feel stuck, don't just think, intend. Because the universe isn't responding to your wishes, it's responding to your signal. Let's say you want a better life, more abundance, stronger relationships, a sense of purpose. You might read the right books, repeat positive affirmations, and even take consistent action. But somehow, nothing changes. Why? Because the most powerful force driving your reality isn't your conscious mind, it's your subconscious. And it's been running the show since the beginning. You see, your subconscious is not just a storage unit for memories and habits. It's the operating system of your entire being. It works beneath your awareness, influencing how you think, feel, behave, and vibrate. And that last one matters more than you think. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You can't manifest what you consciously desire if your subconscious believes the opposite. If you consciously want financial freedom, but your subconscious believes money is dangerous or I'll never have enough, your frequency will broadcast lack, not abundance. If you crave love, but you carry hidden beliefs like I'm not lovable or relationships always hurt, then your energy field will quietly repel the very thing you want. These deep-rooted beliefs become your default settings, and unless they're rewritten, they keep producing the same outcomes, no matter how much effort you apply on the surface. But where do these beliefs come from? Most are installed in childhood. Between ages 0 and 7, your brain operates primarily in a theta state, a highly suggestible, almost hypnotic frequency. During this phase, you absorb beliefs without filters. You don't analyze, you internalize. So if you grew up hearing things like, "we can't afford that," or "don't get your hopes up," or "you have to work hard for everything," then congratulations. Those phrases likely became energetic commands still running your adult life. And here's the kicker. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotion and repetition. That's why change takes more than reading or hoping. You have to go deeper. You have to identify the belief, feel where it lives in your body, and introduce a new vibration to replace it. Until your inner programming changes, your outer results can't. The good news? Once you shift those inner scripts, the quantum field begins to reflect your new energy, instantly and intelligently. Because your beliefs don't just color your perception, they create your path. Think back to your earliest years, the way your parents spoke, the rules in your house, the way adults around you reacted to money, conflict, or affection. Now ask yourself, what if those early moments didn't just shape your memories, but are still shaping your reality today? Because they are. Your subconscious mind, where all your deepest beliefs live, was formed primarily in childhood. And during those early years, your brain wasn't functioning the way it is now. It was operating mostly in what neuroscientists call the theta frequency, a slow, hypnotic brainwave state that absorbs everything without resistance. That means you weren't analyzing, you weren't questioning, you were just accepting. If someone told you money doesn't grow on trees, you didn't debate it, you recorded it. If someone said, "you're too emotional," or "you'll never be enough," that didn't bounce off, you internalized it. And if love was given inconsistently, only when you behaved a certain way, you learned that love must be earned, not received freely. These lessons weren't necessarily spoken with malice. Often, they were passed down unconsciously from people who didn't even know they were planting seeds. But those seeds became your core programs, scripts written into your subconscious that still influence your decisions, emotions, and energy field today. And here's where it gets quantum. The subconscious doesn't just influence your behavior, it determines your vibrational baseline. In other words, those childhood beliefs became the frequency you emit into the quantum field. And because the universe responds to frequency, not intention, it keeps sending you more of what matches that old programming. So even if you now consciously believe in abundance, your subconscious might still be vibrating in lack. Even if you want healthy relationships, your subconscious might still expect rejection or betrayal. The result? Repeated cycles, missed opportunities, self-sabotage that feels like fate. But the truth is, your fate was never written. It was installed. And what's installed can be rewritten. The first step is awareness. You have to recognize that your current struggles may not be your fault, but they are now your responsibility. You're no longer that child. You have the power to reprogram your mind, reset your frequency, and shift what the universe mirrors back to you. Because once you identify the origin of your beliefs, you can finally reclaim the pen and write something new. Let's talk about the silent code running underneath your desires, the one you probably don't even realize is there. It's the script of scarcity. You might think you've left behind those old, limiting beliefs from childhood. You've read the books, done the work, said the affirmations, and yet, life still feels like an uphill climb. Money slips away. Opportunities fall through. People don't show up the way you hoped. Why? Because beneath your conscious intentions, your subconscious may still be broadcasting a frequency of lack, and the quantum field is responding with perfect accuracy. Here's how it works. Let's say you grew up in a home where you constantly heard things like, "We can't afford that," or "money is tight," or "you have to work hard for every penny." Those phrases don't just vanish with time. They become embedded beliefs, like background music you stopped noticing, but still dance to. And those beliefs don't stay in your head. They become vibrational patterns. They shape how you feel about spending, saving, receiving, and deserving. And because the quantum field responds to your frequency, not your wishes, it mirrors back more experiences that match the energy you're sending out. So you get unexpected bills, missed promotions, clients that cancel, deals that almost work, but somehow don't. This isn't bad luck. It's quantum alignment. You're tuned to scarcity. And the universe? It always plays your station. But here's the truth most people never hear. You can be rich in knowledge and still poor in frequency. That's why logic alone doesn't change your life. You can understand abundance, read about mindset, follow financial strategies, but if deep down you feel undeserving or anxious around money, you're still vibrating in the same old loop. This is why some people win big, then lose it all. Or why others sabotage good relationships, fear success, or settle for less. It's not because they're broken. It's because their subconscious hasn't updated its script. To shift this, you need more than thoughts. You need a new vibration, one that says, "I am safe to receive. I am worthy of abundance. I release fear and welcome flow." Because the field is listening. And the moment you stop rehearsing scarcity, you begin to attract something entirely different. If you want to know what your subconscious really believes, don't look at what you say. Look at what you feel, repeatedly. Repetition is the language of the subconscious, but not just repetition of words. Repetition of emotion. That's what truly writes the code of your energetic signature. Every time you feel the same emotion, whether it's anxiety, fear, joy, or gratitude, you're reinforcing a neural and energetic pattern. Over time, that emotion becomes a familiar state, and your subconscious begins to treat it as the default frequency it should maintain. Think of it like walking a path in the woods. The first time, it's rough and overgrown, but walk it every day, and it becomes smooth, automatic. That's exactly how emotional repetition works. Every time you feel a certain way, you make it easier for your subconscious to keep returning to that state, until eventually, it doesn't even have to try. Now here's where it gets powerful. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. So if you repeatedly imagine a future where you are abundant, safe, and joyful, and feel those emotions as if they're real, your subconscious begins to adopt that frequency as your truth. This is the science behind visualization, affirmations, and manifestation. It's not about wishful thinking, it's about emotional rehearsal. The problem is, most people rehearse the wrong emotions. They wake up and replay the same stress, the same doubt, the same stories of what might go wrong. And by feeling those emotions again and again, they unknowingly solidify the very reality they're trying to escape. Emotion is what makes thoughts stick. Without emotion, a thought is just noise. But when you pair a thought with intense feeling, you engrave it into the subconscious and send it into the quantum field as a vibrational command. So ask yourself, what emotions do you rehearse most? What inner climate are you conditioning your body to live in? Because your dominant emotions don't just shape your mood, they shape your frequency. And frequency, in a quantum universe, shapes everything. To create a new life, you must feel your way into it, consistently. And that begins by rehearsing the emotions of the future you want until they become the energy you live in now. You've probably heard it 1,000 times. Just think positive. And maybe you've tried. Maybe you've told yourself, "I'm successful. I'm abundant. I'm happy." But deep down, nothing really changed. So why doesn't it work? Because positive thinking alone doesn't rewrite the subconscious. Let's be honest. Repeating affirmations without belief is like trying to plant seeds on concrete. If the soil isn't soft, nothing grows, and your subconscious is the soil. Here's the truth. Your subconscious mind isn't moved by what you say. It responds to what you feel and expect. So if you're saying, "I am wealthy," but feeling anxiety every time you open your bank account, the dominant signal you're sending to the quantum field is not abundance, it's fear. The field responds to energy, not language, to vibration, not volume. That's why simply thinking positively while emotionally living in worry creates an internal conflict. It's like pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. You're trying to move forward, but your energetic frequency is holding you back. This inner conflict creates resistance in the field. You may start to see partial results, temporary changes, fleeting opportunities, but they don't stick, because your subconscious is still tuned to the old station. It's still running the old beliefs. You can't override those beliefs by force. You have to align with them emotionally. This is why deep change comes not just from saying different things, but from feeling different truths. It's about embodying a new frequency, not once, not occasionally, but consistently. When the emotion behind your affirmations becomes genuine, your subconscious begins to listen. When you start to feel gratitude before the thing arrives, when you feel peace before the outcome is resolved, when you feel worthy without needing proof, that's when your frequency changes. And when your frequency changes, your reality follows. So if you've tried positive thinking and it hasn't worked, don't give up. Just go deeper. Feel what you're saying, believe what you're seeing, and most importantly, become what you're asking for. Because the universe doesn't respond to empty words, it responds to energetic truth. Picture your subconscious mind as a powerful satellite dish. It's not just listening, it's transmitting, constantly, silently, invisibly, and most of all, consistently. What's it transmitting? Your deepest beliefs. Not the things you say out loud, not the things you want, but the quiet convictions hidden beneath your thoughts. If you believe, deep down, that life is a struggle, if you believe that you're not good enough, not lucky enough, or not deserving of joy, then those beliefs become the frequency signature your body sends out into the quantum field. And here's the key. The field responds not to what you consciously desire, but to what your subconscious accepts as real. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. You might want to hear jazz. You might write jazz on a piece of paper and hold it in your hand. But if your dial is set to heavy metal, guess what you'll hear? The field works the same way. Whatever vibration your subconscious is tuned to, that's the station you're on. And the people, events, opportunities, and challenges that appear in your life are all tuned to match. This is why you may feel like you're stuck in a loop, repeating the same patterns, hitting the same walls, attracting the same kind of relationships or financial blocks. It's not because you're cursed. It's because your subconscious is magnetized to a specific frequency, and reality keeps echoing it back. The good news? This isn't permanent. Your subconscious can be tuned, it can be reconditioned. And the fastest way to do that isn't through force, it's through frequency. Start by noticing how you feel. Not just what you think, but what you habitually feel. Is it worry, guilt, doubt? These are the signals your subconscious is sending out. Then begin the shift, not by trying to think your way out, but by feeling your way into a new state. Use visualization, use music, use breath, use movement, use gratitude. Whatever it takes to begin radiating a new emotional tone. Because once you shift the signal, the magnet changes. And once the magnet changes, so does everything it pulls into your life. Imagine having a tool that could rewire your brain, calm your nervous system, and tune your frequency to match your highest desires, all without lifting a finger. That tool exists. It's called meditation. Now forget the idea that meditation is just about relaxing or clearing your mind. It's far more than that. Meditation is the doorway to your subconscious, and through it, to the quantum field itself. When you're awake and alert, your brain operates in a beta state. Fast, logical, often chaotic. This is where most of your daily stress lives. But when you enter a meditative state, your brain slows down, cycling through alpha, then theta, and even delta waves. These are the frequencies where your subconscious is most accessible. Theta, in particular, is the same brainwave state dominant in early childhood, the very time your subconscious was programmed. That means, in meditation, you return to a reprogrammable state. You're not just thinking, you're reconditioning. And here's where quantum physics steps in. As your conscious mind quiets, your body begins to shift into coherence, your heart rhythm stabilizes, your nervous system recalibrates, and the frequency you emit begins to change. In this calm, coherent state, your thoughts carry more power. Your emotions become more aligned. You stop reacting from old programming and start creating from new possibility. This is where intention becomes real, because in meditation, you're no longer bound by the noise of your environment. You leave behind the material world and enter the realm of pure energy. You can visualize a future reality, feel it in your body, see it in your mind. And because your subconscious can't tell the difference between real and imagined, if the emotion is strong enough, it accepts this imagined reality as truth. Now you're sending a new signal into the field, one rooted not in memory, but in creation. Do this daily, and your brain begins forming new neural pathways. Your body begins adjusting its chemistry, and your life begins to realign with the frequency you've chosen. Meditation is an escape. It's not passive. It's the most active recalibration of your inner world. And when your inner world shifts, your outer world doesn't stand a chance. If meditation is the gateway, visualization is the sculptor. It shapes what comes next. But here's what most people get wrong. They treat visualization like daydreaming, a mental fantasy they visit, but never emotionally inhabit. And that's the key difference. Visualization that works, really works, is not just seen, it's felt. Your brain doesn't need physical evidence to believe something is real. It responds to imagined experiences almost exactly the same way it does to real ones. That means, if you visualize a future where you are confident, loved, and abundant, and you feel those emotions with intensity, your brain and body begin to rewire themselves to match that vision. Neurons fire, hormones shift, new circuits begin to form, and more importantly, your energy field changes. When you consistently visualize your desired future, you begin to collapse possibilities into probabilities. In quantum physics, this is called the observer effect. The act of observation alters the outcome. So what happens when you observe your future self over and over in crystal clear detail? You begin to draw that future into your present. But again, the secret isn't in the image, it's in the emotion. It's not enough to see yourself succeeding. You must feel the certainty of success, not just someday, but as if it's already real. You have to walk through your dream reality in your mind as if you're already living it. What do you see when you wake up? How do you feel walking into the room? Who do you interact with? What smells are in the air? What is your posture, your mood, your sense of presence? The more vivid and emotionally intense your visualization becomes, the more your subconscious begins to accept it as normal. And once that shift happens, your subconscious starts broadcasting a new frequency, one that magnetizes people, events, and opportunities that match your inner picture. The external world begins to rearrange, not by force, but by resonance. So don't just visualize. Step into it. Live it from within until the field has no choice but to reflect it back. Because when you become the person in your mind, the universe will mirror you without hesitation. What if I told you your body can't tell the difference between what's real and what's imagined? It sounds impossible, but science proves it. Your body reacts to your thoughts the same way it responds to physical events. If you vividly imagine something stressful, your heart rate increases, cortisol floods your system, and your muscles tense up, just as if it were actually happening. Now, let's flip that. If your mind can trigger stress just by thinking about it, then it can just as easily trigger healing, joy, confidence, and abundance if you learn how to direct it. This is the foundation of powerful visualization. Your body reacts to emotionally charged thoughts as if they're true, and that reaction creates chemical signals, a biological feedback loop that reinforces your mental state. Let's say you visualize a version of yourself who is thriving, wealthy, peaceful, energized, in love with life. If you do it with enough emotional intensity, your body begins to feel the reality of that vision. It doesn't wait for the event to happen. It starts generating the internal chemistry, dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, as if the dream already came true. And here's the magic. The quantum field responds to your emotional vibration, not your physical timeline. So while you may be waiting for external proof, the universe is simply echoing back your dominant frequency. If your body is living in fear, frustration, or doubt, no matter how much positive thinking you do, your reality will reflect that inner state. But when your body starts to experience the emotion of the future, it shifts the signal entirely. You're no longer broadcasting from memory, you're broadcasting from potential. This is why Dr. Joe Dispenza and others emphasize the power of feeling as if your future has already happened. Because when your body aligns with that imagined reality, it becomes a magnet for experiences that match it. So ask yourself, what chemicals are you living in today? Are you addicted to stress? Or are you teaching your body how it feels to be whole, loved, and abundant? Because when your body believes the future, the quantum field begins to build it. Your thoughts may plant the seed, but it's your emotions that water it into reality. Here's a truth that might feel uncomfortable. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. This is why acting as if is one of the most powerful tools you can use to reprogram your subconscious and shift your reality. It's not about faking it. It's not pretending. It's aligning your thoughts, behaviors, and energy with the person you intend to become before your external world catches up. Think of it like dressing for the job you want, not the one you have. When you show up as that future version of yourself, you begin to train your brain, your body, and the quantum field to respond as if it's already true. Why does this work? Because your subconscious doesn't learn through logic. It learns through repetition and behavior. When you act in a new way, speak differently, carry yourself with confidence, make empowered decisions, you start sending a new signal. That signal says, "This is who I am now." And the universe listens. Let's say your goal is financial abundance. Don't wait until money shows up to feel wealthy. Begin cultivating the inner habits of wealth, calm, confidence, generosity, discipline. How would your future self treat a $10 bill? How would they respond to setbacks? How would they invest their time? Or maybe your goal is love. Don't wait for someone to arrive to start acting like you're loved. Embody the frequency of love now. Speak kindly to yourself. Dress in a way that makes you feel radiant. Move through your day as someone who is deeply valued. Because every time you behave like the version of yourself you want to become, you take another step into that identity. Eventually, you stop acting as if and start being. And once your identity shifts, your vibration shifts. And once your vibration shifts, your reality has no choice but to follow. This is not magic, it's physics. So stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for proof. Live the way your future self would live, today. Because when your behavior aligns with your vision, the universe no longer sees a gap, it sees a match. And in a quantum world, matches manifest fast. There's a hidden force far more powerful than desire, strategy, or even effort. That force is certainty. In the quantum world, certainty isn't just confidence, it's a frequency. One that tells the field, "This is already mine." And the field, like a mirror, reflects it back with precision. This is why people who know something is going to happen often get results faster than those who merely hope or wish. Certainty collapses possibilities into reality. It's not louder, it's clearer. Now let's break this down. When you send out a desire into the quantum field, like wanting love, success, or healing, your request is carried on the frequency you're vibrating at. If your desire is wrapped in doubt, impatience, or fear, the dominant signal isn't what you want. It's that you don't have it. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your dominant signal. Certainty eliminates resistance. It says, I no longer chase this, I embody it. And the moment you shift into that energy, things begin to move. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Think of certainty as a tuning fork. When you strike it, anything in resonance begins to vibrate with it. The more unwavering your belief, the more the quantum field reorganizes events to match your inner truth. This doesn't mean forcing yourself to fake it. True certainty isn't bravado. It's not noise. It's calm. It's quiet. It's unchangeable on the inside, even when the outside world hasn't caught up. Remember this. Doubt delays. Every time you check to see if it's working, you send a message that it's not here yet. Every time you second-guess the process, you ripple confusion into the field. But when you drop into stillness, into that place where you know it's done, where you don't need proof, where you're no longer seeking, you create a vacuum of alignment, and the universe rushes to fill it. Certainty is magnetic. It's the signature of creation. So whatever you want, don't just want it. Don't even just believe in it. Know it. Because in the quantum realm, certainty isn't just a mindset, it's a command. So you've been visualizing, meditating, raising your vibration. You feel aligned, you feel powerful, you feel ready, and then it happens. The challenge, the unexpected bill, the rejection, the delay, and suddenly you question everything. I thought I was manifesting something better. Why is this happening now? But here's the truth that few talk about. In the quantum field, the moment you raise your vibration, the universe will test you, not to punish you, to prove you. This isn't superstition, it's pattern. Think of it like this. When you decide to upgrade your frequency, you send a new signal into the field, but the old signal, the one you've been broadcasting for years, doesn't disappear overnight. It echoes for a while. So what shows up first isn't always a breakthrough. It's often a mirror, a test to see if you're really embodying your new frequency, or just flirting with it. This is the moment most people give up. They interpret the test as failure. They panic, drop back into fear, and send the field a mixed signal. And just like that, the manifestation stalls. But those who pass the test, they don't react to the external challenge. They respond from internal certainty. They hold the new frequency, even when the evidence says otherwise. And in doing so, they prove to the universe they're ready. Imagine telling the quantum field, I am abundant, and then getting hit with an unexpected expense. Your reaction in that moment is everything. If you respond with fear, you've reverted. If you respond with trust, with peace, with gratitude, you've passed. Because the universe isn't testing your desire. It's testing your alignment. So the next time something shows up that seems like a contradiction, don't collapse. Smile. Recognize the pattern. And say to yourself, this is the checkpoint. I'm already on the path. This is the proof that my shift is happening. You're not being thrown off course. You're being asked, do you really believe? And when you answer with your energy, not just your words, you unlock the door to the reality you've been creating all along. Have you ever felt like you were on the edge of a breakthrough, only to watch it slip through your fingers? You were doing the inner work, visualizing, meditating, staying positive, and then suddenly, something crashed. The opportunity vanished. The conversation went wrong. The door you thought would open slammed shut. You may have called it bad luck or thought, maybe this wasn't meant for me. But what if it was something else? What if that failure was actually a frequency check? Here's what most people don't realize. The universe doesn't just deliver your desires, it checks to see if your vibration can hold them. Think of it like tuning into a powerful radio station. When you first change the dial, You might get static. The signal cuts in and out. You hear the music, but it fades. That doesn't mean the signal isn't there. It means you haven't locked in yet. That's what happens when your inner frequency hasn't stabilized. You may touch abundance, love, clarity, but if your old programs are still close beneath the surface, any emotional trigger can knock you off that signal. The universe sends what looks like failure to ask one simple question. Are you anchored, or are you just visiting this new vibration? If you're still relying on results to prove your shift, you're vulnerable. Because the moment something goes wrong, your energy drops, and you fall back into fear, doubt, or disappointment. And just like that, the field reflects your old vibration again. But if you can face the breakdown and remain centered, if you continue broadcasting peace when chaos knocks, you pass the test. You stabilize your new frequency. And now, the field can deliver what's aligned with that version of you. Here's the truth. Failure isn't failure. It's feedback. It's the quantum mirror asking, are you still that new version of yourself, even now? And when your answer is yes, not through words, but through energy, you no longer need to chase. Reality will adjust itself to meet you, so the next time things fall apart, don't crumble. Recognize it as the final check, before the breakthrough locks in. Of all the emotions that affect your vibration, gratitude is the most potent. Not because it feels good, though it does, but because it carries a frequency that completes the circuit between your intention and the quantum field. Here's the key. Gratitude doesn't wait for the manifestation to arrive. It acts as if it's already here. And that's exactly what makes it so magnetic. When you feel grateful before something has happened, you're sending a very specific signal. I already have this. I am aligned with it. I am living in its reality. And because the field responds to your state of being, not your timeline, it mirrors back what you're emotionally experiencing. This is why people who live in chronic gratitude often seem to be lucky. Things fall into place. Opportunities appear. The right people show up at just the right time. It's not luck. It's resonance. Think of gratitude as a broadcast. When it's genuine, it tunes your frequency to the reality where your desires already exist. You're no longer vibrating from need, from lack, from wishing. You're vibrating from receiving. That's what makes gratitude different from hope. Hope still contains a shadow of uncertainty. Gratitude is certainty in emotional form. So when you practice gratitude, not as a checklist, but as a deep, embodied emotion, you accelerate the delivery of your manifestations. Because now your inner world is a match for what you want, and the field must reflect that. And here's a secret most people miss. You don't have to feel grateful only for what's good. You can be grateful for the obstacles too. For the lessons, for the delays, for the test that challenged you to rise. Because when you meet difficulty with gratitude, you transcend it. You say to the universe, I trust the process. I know it's all part of the design. And in that trust, resistance dissolves, flow returns, alignment deepens. Gratitude is not just polite, it's powerful. It closes the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So feel it, radiate it, and watch how fast the universe moves when you say, with your entire being, thank you, it's already mine. Have you ever thought about someone, only to have them text you moments later, stumbled upon the exact book, phrase, or message you needed at the perfect time? These aren't coincidences. They're called synchronicities, and they're not random. In the quantum world, synchronicity is a signal, a feedback loop from the field, showing you that your frequency and your future are beginning to align. Here's how it works. When you elevate your emotional state through gratitude, intention, or visualization, you begin to shift your personal vibration. That shift doesn't just affect your inner world, it sends out ripples into the energetic web that connects everything. The field receives your signal, and it responds with clues. Synchronicities are those clues. They're the universe's way of saying, you're on the path, keep going, But they're not just validations, they're invitations. When a synchronicity appears, when you hear the same message from multiple sources, or you meet someone who offers exactly what you need, it's a nudge, a doorway, a moment where the invisible becomes visible. Most people overlook these moments. They brush them off as chance. But those who understand how energy works pay attention. They follow the thread. Because the more you notice synchronicity, the more it multiplies. Why? Because attention amplifies frequency. The field isn't static, it's alive. It communicates through symbols, signs, and perfectly timed intersections. When you acknowledge the signs, you strengthen your connection to the intelligence behind them. You start to move through life with awareness, not control. You stop forcing outcomes and begin recognizing when things are flowing. And in that flow, your manifestations accelerate. Remember, you don't manifest through effort alone. You manifest by alignment. Synchronicities are proof that you're aligned. So when the right person enters your life, when the opportunity falls into your lap, when the universe whispers something through a passing conversation, listen. Pause. Feel the frequency. And ask yourself, what did I just align with to receive this? Because in the quantum universe, there are no accidents, only reflections. And synchronicity is the mirror that reveals what your energy has silently summoned. Raising your vibration is powerful. But holding it? That's when everything changes. Anyone can feel abundant for 5 minutes. Anyone can visualize success during meditation. But the true transformation happens when you maintain that elevated state, not just occasionally, but consistently, even when life doesn't yet reflect it, even when challenges appear. Because in the quantum field, consistency creates coherence, and coherence is what makes your vibration undeniable. Think of your energy like a broadcast tower. The stronger and more stable your signal, the clearer the message you send to the universe. The clearer the message, the faster the field responds. When you hold a high-frequency emotion, gratitude, love, confidence for extended periods, you begin to shift from someone trying to attract something to someone who already is that frequency. You're no longer broadcasting from a place of lack. You've become a magnet for what you desire. And the world starts to respond. People treat you differently. Opportunities seem to arrive out of nowhere. Solutions appear where there was once confusion. It's not luck, it's resonance. Reality is simply catching up to your vibration. But here's the challenge. Life will still throw tests your way. You'll still face stress, distractions, and old triggers. The question is, can you remain aligned despite them? Can you feel worthy when things go quiet? Can you hold joy even when the outcome isn't here yet? Can you walk in trust when the future feels uncertain? If you can, you become unshakable. And that's when momentum builds. Because in that state, you're no longer reacting to life. You're leading it. You're not waiting to feel better once something changes. You're causing the change through how you feel. Holding the vibe doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means choosing your energetic state, moment to moment, even when your environment doesn't justify it. Because the more you embody the emotion of your future self now, the faster that future becomes your present. It's not about forcing results. It's about maintaining the signal long enough for the world to adjust around you. And once it does, you won't need to chase anything. Everything you once sought will begin to find you. You've set the intention. You've visualized the outcome. You've aligned your energy. So why hasn't it manifested yet? Because there's one more layer. One that most people resist. It's called detachment. Detachment isn't giving up. It's not saying, I don't care anymore. It's saying, I trust that it's already mine, and I no longer need to control the how or the when. You see, attachment creates friction in the quantum field. When you need something to happen in order to feel good, you're broadcasting lack. You're sending a signal of, it's not here yet, and I'm incomplete without it. And the universe, ever precise, reflects that energy back. Detachment, on the other hand, is the energetic posture of already having. It's calm, it's centered, it's complete. And it tells the field, I'm aligned with this now. I don't need to chase it, because I've already become it. That's when things start moving, fast. Ironically, the more desperate you are for an outcome, the more you push it away. Because desperation is an energy of separation. But when you release the outcome with trust, you collapse the distance between now and your desire. You give the universe room to do what it does best, deliver in the most aligned way, not necessarily the fastest or most obvious. And yes, detachment can feel uncomfortable. It requires faith. It requires surrender. But in that surrender, you unlock flow. You stop micromanaging your manifestation. You stop checking for signs, doubting the process, or needing constant reassurance. You simply stay in the frequency and let the field rearrange things on your behalf. That's not passivity. That's mastery. Because the highest vibration you can hold is one of peaceful expectation. Not needing, not hoping, just knowing. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care so much you're willing to let it come the right way, at the right time, through the right door. And when you hold that energy, you don't just attract what you want, you attract something even better. Because once you let go of needing it, you finally become the version of yourself who's ready to receive it. If the universe is listening, what language does it understand? Not English, not words, not even your thoughts. The language of the quantum field is emotion. Every feeling you have, whether joy or fear, gratitude or shame, generates a unique electromagnetic signature. That signature becomes your broadcast. And in a universe governed by vibration, your emotions are the signal that shapes what comes back. You can say, I want success, 1,000 times. But if your emotional baseline is frustration, worry, or insecurity, then those are the frequencies the field responds to. It doesn't hear your voice, it reads your vibration. This is why affirmations alone don't always work. If they aren't backed by genuine feeling, they remain surface level. The subconscious doesn't believe them, the body doesn't resonate with them, and the field reflects your actual state, not the words you're repeating. Emotion is the bridge between thought and manifestation. It brings energy to form. But not all emotions are equal. High vibration emotions, love, joy, appreciation, inspiration, create coherence in the body. They align the brain and heart, settle the nervous system, and send a strong, stable signal into the field. Low vibration emotions, anger, guilt, fear, doubt, create chaos. They scramble your signal and magnetize more confusion and resistance. So the question is, what emotion are you embodying most often? Not occasionally, not when you're trying to manifest, but every day, in the background of your life, because that's the emotion the field takes seriously. That's the vibrational blueprint the universe begins to mirror back. But here's the good news. You're not stuck with the emotion you've been conditioned to feel. You can choose your emotional state. You can train your body to live in gratitude. You can rehearse joy. You can cultivate peace. You can fire and wire new emotional circuits through intention and repetition. And when you do, your signal becomes consistent. Your field becomes magnetic. And your life begins to shift, not from force, but from emotional truth. So remember, it's not what you think that manifests. It's what you feel, and feel consistently, that shapes your reality. Change your emotions, and you don't just change your mood. You change the entire field around you. Long before quantum physics gave us vocabulary like entanglement and frequency, ancient civilizations were already speaking this truth. They just used different words. In India, it was called prana, the life force that flows through everything. In China, it was known as qi, the invisible energy that sustains and connects all things. In ancient Egypt and among mystics of the West, there was the Akashic field, a vast, invisible realm holding the memory and potential of the universe. These weren't myths. They were early maps of reality. ways of understanding that everything is interconnected, vibrational, and alive. And what modern science is now beginning to uncover, spiritual traditions have pointed to for thousands of years. At the core of nearly every wisdom path lies this simple idea: you are not separate. Your thoughts are not confined to your head. Your emotions ripple through the world. Your intentions carry weight. And the universe is not distant. It's responsive. Meditation, prayer, breathwork, ritual. These were never just spiritual practices. They were technologies for tuning your energy, clearing your mind, and aligning your vibration with the divine intelligence of the cosmos. And now, science is catching up. Quantum physics confirms that at the smallest scale, everything is made of vibrating energy, fields that respond to observation, intention, and resonance. Consciousness, once dismissed as a side effect of brain chemistry, is now being studied as a force, perhaps even more fundamental than matter itself. Renowned physicists like David Bohm propose that the universe might be a hologram, where every part contains the whole. That your consciousness isn't confined to your body, but embedded in a deeper order of existence. Sound familiar? Because whether it's a monk in the Himalayas or a researcher in a lab, they're both pointing toward the same truth. There is no real separation. And if that's true, then every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you carry is not private. It's a contribution to the collective field. It's a signal sent out. And it comes back, with perfect precision. So maybe the ancients weren't just being poetic when they said, "As within, so without." Maybe they were describing the very code of reality. What if the universe wasn't just around you, but also within you? Not metaphorically, but literally. According to some of the most groundbreaking thinkers in quantum physics, like David Bohm and Nassim Haramein, reality might not be as linear or separate as we once believed. Instead, the universe could be holographic, a structure where every single part contains the blueprint of the whole. That means you're not just a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, in a drop. This theory suggests that your consciousness isn't isolated inside your brain, floating in a sea of disconnected matter. Instead, your mind is a localized expression of a vast field of awareness. You are tapping into consciousness, not generating it. Much like a television doesn't create the broadcast, it receives it. And here's where it gets really powerful. If your consciousness contains the pattern of the universe itself, then every time you shift your thoughts, beliefs, or emotions, you're not just changing your life, you're altering the field. Your transformation becomes a ripple that touches everything. This also explains why practices like meditation, prayer, or deep emotional healing don't just make you feel better, they make you more coherent, more aligned with the source code of reality. In this view, your brain is like a lens focusing universal consciousness into a single, unique perspective. You. Your job isn't to get more power. It's to remember that you already have it, because you are made of the same energy, governed by the same intelligence, and connected to the same laws that run stars, galaxies, and black holes. Everything is a reflection. The structure of the atom mirrors the structure of solar systems. The web of neurons in your brain resembles the structure of cosmic networks. It's all one design, scaled infinitely. So if your inner world contains the outer universe, then changing yourself, your beliefs, your emotions, your vibration, isn't just personal development. It's universal alignment. You're not just in the universe, you are the universe, expressing itself through a single powerful point of consciousness. You. For most of your life, you've been told a lie, that you are separate, separate from others, separate from your dreams, separate from the universe. But here's the truth. You were never disconnected. You were never meant to chase your desires like distant goals. You were meant to realize they're already tethered to you, vibrating in the same field, waiting for you to match their frequency. Quantum entanglement, holographic reality, subconscious reprogramming. These aren't just theories. They are maps back to something ancient within you. A knowing that has always whispered beneath your fear, beneath your conditioning, beneath the noise. And what is that knowing? that you are already connected to everything you seek. You don't become worthy. You remember you were always worthy. You don't create your power. You reclaim the energy that was always yours. You don't find your purpose. You align with what your soul already knows. When you finally tune into the field, not through effort, but through presence, you start to see life differently. You don't see random obstacles. You see mirrors. You don't see missed opportunities. You see timing. You don't see isolation. You see interconnection. Everything starts working in harmony with you, not because the world changed, but because your vibration did. This is the essence of awakening. It's not becoming something new. It's dissolving everything that told you were limited, small, or separate. Once you drop the illusion of disconnection, the quantum field becomes responsive in ways that seem almost magical. You think, and it shows up. You feel, and it takes form. You align, and it arrives. But this isn't magic. This is nature remembering itself through you. So if you're waiting for the sign, this is it. You don't need another book, another strategy, another approval. You need to come home, to your frequency, your truth, your power. Because the moment you stop searching outside yourself, you realize the signal was always coming from within. You don't need to connect to the universe. You only need to remember you were never disconnected.